Hey y'all, my name is Ladette, and in this video we are going to talk about how sometimes it's really difficult to be on a spiritual journey. It's not always fun, it's not always the most exciting journey to be on, but obviously the work is super important. And if you're on a spiritual journey, it's because you want more for yourself, you want more for your life. You know that there is room for more happiness, more self-love, abundance, and all of the above. And I think that a lot of times it's being on a spiritual journey is maybe a little bit glamorized. I know that when I started my journey, I thought that it was going to be so much fun. I thought that I was going to be like always feeling good, always feeling happy, always feeling confident, and that just honestly has not been the case. And this is in no way to discourage anybody. I think that we all should be on a spiritual journey and to in some way, in some degree, but I did want to kind of just address some of maybe the misconceptions people may have on what it means to actually be on a journey, just so that people are not feeling maybe discouraged, so that people are not feeling bad, or so that people are not feeling like they're not making progress towards, the goals that they have for themselves and where they want to be. So I have my list of notes because I just want to make sure that I hit some of the things that I thought were really important. But one of the things is that it takes work, right? Like when you're on a spiritual journey, it's not enough to simply just say that you want more for yourself. It's not enough to simply just say, you want inner peace, or that you want to have a better relationship with your higher self, or a connection with your spirit guides, whatever it is. It takes work. And a lot of the times it's ugly. Like a lot of the times it gets ugly because things have to come to the surface. There are things that you have to learn about yourself, some of your shadows, some of the more darker elements of yourself, and you have to address them and you have to come face to face with them. And sometimes you don't even know that they're there until you start a spiritual journey. And that part can be kind of scary because you might get to a point where maybe you have a breakthrough. And like, I'll give an example of something that I experienced recently, of an inner childhood wound that I didn't know was a wound until I came across a person who kind of brought that out of me. And so that's kind of something that you may experience when you're on this spiritual journey, is that things just come up, and they kind of come up left and right. You may get through like one breakthrough and feel amazing, just to have another part of you come out that needs to be addressed. And with the example that I wanted to share, I internalized a lot of rejection when I was younger. I internalized a lot of feeling kind of isolated because I was the only Black girl in my group of friends. I went to an all white people school, basically. I was the only Black girl, only girl in my group of friends that never had a boyfriend until I was in high school. But as a younger kid, I internalized that, and I never actually dealt with those feelings. It felt like one day I just kind of blossomed, like when I was in middle school going into high school, and I started to like receive attention. And from there, I never really like looked back. I never thought about it. And it wasn't until someone that I met a couple years ago, and mind you, I'm 27 years old now, that I met this person, and we hit it off, things were great, and then I basically got ghosted. And it really brought something out of me that I hadn't experienced since I was a kid. Like, I just found myself getting so mad, like wanting to be so aggressive with that person, just in terms of like posting online to show them like, oh, what they were missing out on, like oh, you could have had this and you chose not to have it. And I just was so mad about it, and I had this knot in my stomach for a while, like weeks and weeks, before I sat with it and addressed it. And that's one thing that I want to bring up, is that when you're on this journey, your body, your higher self, your spirit guides are going to find different ways to communicate things with you, and things will come to the surface in different ways for everybody. For me, it's always a knot in my stomach. When I need to sit with something, it's always a knot in my stomach. And so I got myself to kind of sit with it, and I had to go deep. I had to meditate on it. I had to go deep, and I had to ask myself, where is this coming from? Like, why am I so upset that this person didn't choose me? Like, it's okay. They didn't have to choose me. They didn't have to want to be with me. So why is this bothering me so much? And it made me realize that I felt like I wasn't good enough for this person, and I felt like they didn't pick me, which is crazy because I know as an adult, right? Like, my rational mind, my conscious self knows that just because someone doesn't pick you doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That guy has every right to not want to be with me. That guy has every right to not want to have pursued things with me. Do I agree with the way he went about it? Maybe not, because ultimately it does hurt when someone just disappears on you. But at the end of the day, he doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't owe me an explanation. I'm nothing to him, and that is absolutely okay, right? And so I had to sit with that and be like, why does it bother me? And it's because I felt like I wasn't good enough as a little girl, and I internalized that, and I never spoke about it. I never dealt with it. I never healed from it. It just was a repressed memory, right? And so being on this spiritual journey and being able to meditate on it and truly forgive that person and let it go has freed me from that internalization of, you know, not being good enough and being an outcast. However, because I'm on this journey, that's not where it ends. There's other layers to me that I'm going to continue having to peel back. And it's not something that I'm 100% with, you know what I mean? Like, I just met someone recently who I noticed that in the conversation that we were having, I noticed that I wanted to just kind of stop messaging back. And there was absolutely nothing wrong with the conversation that we were having, absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I found myself wanting to stop talking to that person. And I heard myself in the back of my mind say, well, if you stop talking to him first, then you beat him to it. And then he doesn't get to disappear on you. And that's a realization for me there too, where it's like, damn, you know, that stuff goes really deep. And when you're on the spiritual journey, you realize that. And what I really want to share is to have grace with yourself and to give yourself permission to go through those feelings and work through those processes. Because like in this example, you know, that just goes to show for me that maybe there still is a little bit of that wound there, right? Of because that person in the past that had ghosted me, you know, and then it brought up that feeling of like, am I not good enough? Like, why am I not being picked, etc. It's like, it just shows that it's deeper than what we really think. And so don't be discouraged when you're on your spiritual journey and you're not where you want to be, right? Like, ideally, I would love to be 100% healed from the fear of, you know, someone just stopped talking to me, you know. And it's crazy because even though consciously I know like I'm okay, I'm safe, they don't have to pick me, right? Like, the only person who needs to choose me is myself, and I love myself, right? But the wounds go deep. Anytime we internalize pain or hurt, it just goes deep, and there's a lot of work that we need to do around it. So again, don't be discouraged if, you know, you kind of find yourself in this cycle of going through kind of similar things, or maybe it's that, you know, you've had a breakthrough, right? You realize something about yourself, you know where that wound came from. Now you're conscious and aware of it, you're working on it, you're healing, but then something else comes up. That's okay. The point of being on a spiritual journey, which goes into my next point, is you're constantly like peeling back layers of yourself, and the work is ongoing. I mean, if we're in this journey, we're in it forever. I mean, we're really in it until our last day, because it's just a constant evolution of ourselves. It's a constant learning experience. It's just, we're constantly learning about where these aspects of ourselves and our personalities came from. And it takes a lot to address those things. It takes a lot to even be aware of it. The first thing is having the awareness, and then finding ways to kind of navigate through maybe that hurt, you know, getting ourselves with time to forgive people who have hurt us, who have contributed to those aspects of us in our lives. And so be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, give yourself the time and space to be able to have those learning opportunities, because they don't just come overnight. It's not like, you know, you go to bed one night thinking, okay, I'm on this spiritual journey, like I'm gonna heal, I'm gonna forgive everyone, things are gonna be perfect, I'm gonna be so happy. And you will, but it just doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. So I would definitely just suggest, like, be really patient with yourself and find your group of people. Like, find people who are in this journey as well. I'm in it. I'm your friend. Like, I can be your person that you want to talk to when you're having these breakthroughs, or when you're just experiencing, maybe, you know, you took a couple steps forward and now you took like 10 steps back and you're just not feeling great. I'm here for you. And the fact that you're on this journey of, you know, wanting better for yourself, wanting more for yourself, you're wanting to face, you know, these dark aspects of yourself in order to heal and in order to grow and find peace. Because ultimately, I think that's why a lot of us are on this journey, is because we want that inner peace and freedom within ourselves. And so just know you're not in it alone, but find those people who get it. Find those people who understand that this is a lifelong journey that's going to take work. There's going to be a lot of tears. There's going to be a lot of sadness. There's going to be a lot of uncomfortable feelings, a lot of uncomfortable, maybe even conversations that you're going to have, but it's worth it. And so even though some of like this may sound a little bit negative, like, oh my God, you're telling me that I have to like sit with some like, traumatizing things that I went through when I was younger. I know some of this may sound and feel negative, but the biggest point I wanted to make is that it's so worth it. Like, it's so worth it to have those breakthroughs. It's so worth it to get to a point where you're just like, wow, I learned something about myself. Wow, I understand where this hurt comes from. It's empowering, it's liberating, because it gives you the opportunity to take your power back and to know yourself and to know where these things came from, and to no longer let it be something that causes harm to you or holds you back or takes from your life, takes from your happiness, takes from your joy. So the biggest thing I just wanted to say is that it is worth it, and to not be afraid, but to be aware that being on a spiritual journey is a commitment, and it's a statement that you're making to yourself, to your higher self, to your spirit guides, that you're ready to address what you need to address within you, so that you can live your best life, so that you can live a life that reflects, your highest self, your highest purpose. So be patient with yourself, have grace with yourself, find your group of people, find your like-minded people who are on this journey that can be there and support you, and welcome the lessons that are going to come, even the ones that are going to hurt, even the ones that are going to make you feel like you haven't made any progress at all. Welcome all of that, because it's a part of the experience. And just know that even when you feel like maybe you're not making progress or you're not where you want to be, that you actually are. Like, simply the fact of you being on the journey and doing the work is getting you closer to being connected, the most connected you could be with your higher self. And it's just worth it. It's just going to be so worth it. And so I think I hit pretty much all of the points that I wanted to make. And so if you're on this journey, again, I'm here for you. I'm in it as well. Like, we're in this together. And if you found any type of value in this video, please like the video, share the video, leave a comment, definitely subscribe to the channel, and I will be seeing you in the next one.